Chapter 137. Lin Yan was in the middle of her makeup when she heard a commotion outside the makeup room. Duo peeked outside worriedly. "I think it's Wei Xiaofan. I'm going out to take a look, okay?" Lin Yan waved her hands casually and pleaded with Kevin for the umpteenth time. "Can't I play a few games?" Kevin's face darkened. "No, you have to stay in this position. How am I supposed to put on makeup if you lower your head?" Lin Yan's heart ached as she muttered under her breath, "Time is money." It was torture for her to just sit there and do nothing. Kevin glanced at her. "Aren't you the least bit concerned that Wei Xiaofan is here?" Lin Yan replied, "Why should I be concerned?" Kevin replied, "He's your rumored boyfriend after all." Lin Yan replied, "I have so many rumored boyfriends. He won't make a difference." Kevin was speechless. Indeed, Wei Xiaofan had arrived at the set. The newcomer was wearing a black flight jacket and was dressed in a punk heavy metal style. His slightly curly hair was dyed a dazzling reddish brown, and he wore a ruby earring in one ear. His eyebrows were sharp, his nose was tall, and his light golden eyes were full of arrogance and unruliness. Unlike his gentle name, Gentle Breeze, Wei Xiaofan exuded an intense, aggressive aura the moment he appeared. He was like a raging storm. The crew, extras, and a few small-time celebrities screamed and screamed at the top of their lungs. Even Duo, who was hiding in the back, almost cried out in surprise. Wei Xiaofan was indeed worthy of his nickname, Tropical Storm. Up close, he looked even more handsome in person than he did in photos and on television. His face was simply too handsome. Ah! Oh my God! The Prince of Pop is too handsome. He's too suitable for the role of a wolf puppy. I'll be satisfied as a fan. Producer Feng Anhua, director Jiang Ming, and assistant director Wu Wenhai had arrived personally. Wei Xiaofan's handsome face was gloomy. He waved away the coffee that his assistant had brought him impatiently and plopped down on the couch. Feng Anhua's face was full of smiles as he warmly welcomed him. Young Master Wei, you've finally arrived. Hurry up and put on your makeup and change your clothes. I've specially prepared a separate makeup room for you, and there's even a top-notch stylist. Yes, you will definitely be satisfied." Assistant Director Wu Wenhai also quickly echoed. They were naturally aware of Wei Xiaofan's outburst yesterday and his Weibo post. They were afraid that he would stir up trouble today. Wei Xiaofan crossed his legs and propped them on the coffee table. The corners of his mouth twitched as he sneered coldly. "Don't play this game with me." Feng Anhua and the others knew that they were in trouble. Indeed, Wei Xiaofan's expression darkened as he said, "I only agreed to play this role because of junior sister Shuya. Now that you've replaced my raccoon with this woman, you're forcing me to act as a couple with her." He Shanshan's face reddened as she sized up Wei Xiaofan. Oh my God! Who would have thought that Wei Xiaofan was 100 times more handsome in real life? That face was like a meticulous creation from the hands of God, and it was obvious that he had been influenced by the elite nobles since he was young. Although he looked unruly, there was a noble aura around him, as if he was a prince that walked out of a comic book. He Shanshan couldn't take her eyes off him. At the same time, her eyes were filled with hatred. Chapter 141. Jiang Sifei stroked her nails nonchalantly as she quipped, "Why don't I quit as well? How dare Lin Yan try to fight with her? She had thousands of ways to crush her." Lin Yan wouldn't even have a chance to retaliate. Duo, who had been watching from the sidelines, stomped her feet anxiously. She was doomed. Jiang Sifei, the award-winning actress, and He Shanshan, who was Wei Xiaofan's backer. Was the production crew really going to kick Lin Yan out because of the pressure? She had to look for Sister Yan. Feng Anhua hurriedly tried to calm them down. "Hey, calm down. Don't be anxious." We didn't say that we wouldn't replace her. Wei Shufeng had been in a bad mood, so he had lost his patience after listening to the commotion. His face was dark and gloomy. Damn it! If he wanted someone to disappear, why did he have to nag so much? How dare she create rumors about him and pretend to be his girlfriend? How dare she spread rumors that he was deeply in love with an ugly woman? This was the biggest insult to a good-looking man like him. Not only was he going to kick her out of the production team, but he was also going to kick her out of the entertainment industry. How noisy! All of you, shut up! Wei Shufeng kicked the coffee table and was about to fly into a rage. However, at this moment, his gaze suddenly passed through the quarreling crowd and inadvertently landed not far away in front of him. The door of the opposite dressing room suddenly opened, and a girl walked out from inside. The girl was wearing a classic black dress. The material of the dress was inlaid with black feathers, and the hem of the dress was swaying with delicate black feather tassels. Her slender and fair neck was adorned with a lace choker, and her waist-length hair was curled into a lazy, seaweed-like curl by the stylist. The space between the girl's dark green brows was cold and distant like frost. Her black eyes seemed to reflect the starry night sky, and her delicate lips were like poppies in full bloom. As she walked, it seemed like there were thousands of red spider lilies blooming under her feet. She was so beautiful that it made one's heart palpitate. Wei Shufeng felt as though an arrow had pierced through his heart. His mind was filled with only one thought: 10,000 years in one glance. The stylist, Kevin, chased after the girl furiously with a brush in his hand. Lin Yen. Stop right there. It wasn't over yet. And the makeup powder. The makeup powder hasn't been applied yet. Lin Yen? She was. Lin Yen? Feng Anhua and He Shanshan were engaged in a heated argument, so they hadn't noticed Lin Yen at all. In the end, Feng Anhua decided to ask Lin Yen to leave the production. Otherwise, Wei Shufeng would wreak havoc and wreak havoc. Feng Anhua walked over to Wei Shufeng and said, "Miss Jiang and Miss He have both insisted on withdrawing from the cast. I'm in a difficult position. I've thought about it carefully, and both of you have a point." "Yes, yes, yes," Feng Anhua said as he led Wei Shufeng over. Chapter 145. How could Jiang Sifei and He Shanshan let the matter rest? He Shanshan immediately wanted to complain to Wei Shufeng, but Feng Anhua seemed to know what they were up to. He immediately said, "We are going to start filming in a closed-door setting. Anyone who is not involved should leave first." He called for the crew to clear the place. Jiang Sifei gritted her teeth and sneered coldly, "Producer Feng, since you insist, don't blame me. Let's go." He Shanshan stomped her feet angrily and followed them. After they left, Jiang Yiming, who was still in a daze, walked over. "Old Feng, what happened?" Feng Anhua's face was beaming with joy. "What do you mean, what's going on? Will they be alright if they let Jiang Sifei go just like that? What happened to Wei Shufeng? Why did his attitude change so suddenly?" Jiang Yiming's mind was filled with questions. Did Wei Shufeng think that Lin Yan's style is good and change his mind? That's not all. Feng Anhua patted Jiang Yiming's shoulder helplessly. "Old Jiang, haven't you figured it out yet? Forget it. You should focus on filming. Just take it that Wei Shufeng has changed his mind and stopped fooling around. Don't worry about anything else. Leave it to me." "Oh yeah, what's the first scene today?" asked Feng Anhua. At this point, Jiang Yiming looked worried. "Feng Canyang and Lin Pianruo will have to interact with each other tacitly. I'm afraid it'll be difficult for them to do so in their current state. For example, Lin Pianruo will return late and Feng Canyang will throw a tantrum. Will Wei Shufeng be able to act like this?" Feng Anhua glanced at Wei Shufeng, who was trying his best to act obedient. He chuckled and replied, I don't think it will be a problem. In fact, Feng Anhua was a little surprised by this matter. After all, he had heard rumors that Wei Shufeng had been wooing Lin Shuya. How had he fallen in love with Lin Yan all of a sudden? However, Lin Yan's appearance had indeed been stunning. Given young Master Wei's character, it was understandable that he had fallen in love with her at first sight. However, he was puzzled. Even if Wei Shufeng had fallen in love with Lin Yan, he could easily get any woman he wanted. Was there a need to be so nervous? He hadn't expected Wei Shufeng's attitude to change so drastically. Before filming even started, he had probably already gotten into Fang Kanyang's character. Sister Yan, I've been looking forward to working with you. Sister Yan, what about you? Wei Shufeng addressed her as Sister Yan in a friendly manner. His eyes sparkled as he gazed at her. What shocked her the most was that he actually said that he looked forward to working with her. Lin Yan was completely dumbfounded. Was Duo hallucinating, or had Wei Shufeng taken the wrong medicine? Wei Shufeng was completely different from what Duo had described. Instinctively, Lin Yan glanced at Duo in confusion. What was going on? Chapter 147. She didn't have enough time. If she couldn't improve her level, she would have to pay a fine. Wasn't she taking too long to put on makeup? Lin Yan had just started the game when Assistant Director Wu Wenhai walked over. He frowned when he saw that Lin Yan was playing a game. Hey, Lin Yan. What's wrong with you? Filming is about to start. Why aren't you getting ready? Why are you still playing? Wei Shufeng's hair was covered with small clips. He was in the middle of putting on makeup, but his attention was on Lin Yan. His face darkened when he saw her. Sister Yan likes to play games, so just let her. Why are you causing trouble? Don't you know that people hate to be interrupted? Then, he turned to Lin Yan. Sister Yan, what game are you playing? Can I join you? Lin Yan was speechless, Duo was speechless. Was there something wrong with the plot? Shouldn't Lin Yan be the one pestering Wei Shufeng and trying to create a scandal? Why did it seem like the exact opposite? Duo wasn't the only one who sensed that something was amiss. They had thought that Wei Shufeng would fly into a rage and that Lin Yan would have to bear the consequences. Who knew that Wei Shufeng would be so gentle and polite to Lin Yan? No, he wasn't gentle and polite at all. Wei Shufeng was as obedient as a bunny in front of Lin Yan. Assistant Director Wu Wenhai was also dumbfounded by this ancestor's scolding. Huh? Wei Shufeng lowered his voice and hissed, Why? Don't you understand me? Wu Wenhai jumped in fright and bowed hastily to Lin Yan. All right. Lin Yan. Continue playing. Continue playing. Wu Wenhai was inexplicably scolded. He scratched his head in confusion and ran to find Feng Anhua. Old Feng, what's going on? Hadn't Wei Shufeng been kicking them out earlier? How had he changed so suddenly? Producer Feng, who wouldn't reveal Wei Shufeng's true intentions, told Wu Wenhai solemnly, regardless of the situation, you just have to know that you can't offend Lin Yan. Wu Wenhai was speechless. Wei Shufeng's makeup was done in no time. He just had to change into his costume. After some time, Wei Shufeng changed and walked out of the fitting room. Wei Shufeng had already changed out of his heavy metal punk outfit. He was now wearing a clean white t-shirt, light blue jeans, and white sneakers. He had taken off all the necklaces, bracelets, and earrings. Even his precious reddish-brown hair had been dyed black by Kevin. His soft and smooth black hair made him look even more obedient. The heavy makeup on his face had also been removed. It seemed that he had only put on a layer of foundation and applied some makeup on his eyebrows. He looked fresh and clean. Wei Shufeng's facial features were perfect and exquisite. Without the heavy makeup, he looked like a freshly minted university student. When he smiled, he could melt a person's heart. The staff at the side couldn't help but scream. Ah. Oh my God. Wei Shufeng's puppy look was against the rules. Who can withstand this? What an arsonist. Ah. Even director Jiang Yiming was satisfied. Very good, very good. This style is very suitable. She hadn't expected Wei Shufeng to be willing to dye his hair. On the sofa, Fang Canyang, who had been waiting for Lin Pianruo to return, fell asleep because he was too tired. Fang Canyang was wearing a white t-shirt and jeans. His silky black hair was a little messy, and he was hugging a pillow in his arms. When he heard the commotion, he got up from the sofa in a daze. Chapter 150. Wei Shufeng watched as Lin Pianruo changed into her slippers and entered the house. He watched as she hung her jacket on the hanger and hurried into the study to look for some documents. Then, he watched as she hurried into the bedroom to search for something. From the beginning to the end, his gaze had been following her around like a puppy. When she was done, she hung up the phone and walked to the window. She lit a cigarette and read all sorts of documents on her iPad. From start to finish, she didn't even look at him. Fang Canyang's expression changed from one of infatuation to one of resentment and anger. At the same time, Jiang Yiming couldn't help but glance at Lin Yan. Stop. 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 Lin Yan, you acted well, but your attitude towards Wei Shufeng was a little too much. Not only did you lose your heart, but you also lost your kidney. Even though you don't love Fang Canyang, you still like him. Wei Shufeng was speechless. Jiang Yiming's words pierced Wei Shufeng's heart. Lin Yan replied, "Oh. I'm sorry. Let me try again." Lin Yan couldn't avoid Wei Shufeng at all costs, so she couldn't put herself in his shoes. However, she was smart enough to think of an idea. She decided to imagine Wei Shufeng as a kitten. To Lin Pianruo, Wei Shufeng's existence was no different from a kitten that could flirt with her. The filming resumed. Fang Canyang's face darkened as he questioned her. Where did you go? Why did you come back so late? Lin Pianruo didn't lift her head as she continued to read her iPad. Company dinner. Fang Canyang clenched his fists. Dinner? Then where did the perfume on your body come from? Do you have a dog's nose? Lin Pianruo chuckled softly. I chatted with Chen Jing for a while. Fang Canyang flared up. Chen Jing. It's Chen Jing again. Do you need to be so close to him to chat? Do you like him? Lin Pianruo replied, I like you. Lin Pianruo gazed at the young man as though he was a kitten that had messed up its owner's wool. She couldn't help but like him. Jiang Yiming's face was filled with excitement. His intuition was right. You. Wei Shufeng fell into a daze when he saw the doting look in her eyes. His cheeks flushed red. This scene had no trace of acting at all. It was too natural. Ka. Very good. Jiang Yiming shouted. The scene had only taken 2 takes. Both Wei Shufeng and Lin Yan's performances had been on point. It had been so smooth that he had almost burst into tears. After the director announced the end of the scene, Lin Yan regained her usual expressionless look. The staff members who had been prepared for a long period of time could not react in time. It's over? I didn't expect Lin Yan to be so good at acting. It's indeed a little unexpected. Not only is the style appropriate, but the acting is also passable. Director, are we done? Lin Yan strode over to Jiang Yiming. Jiang Yiming's face lit up with joy. Yes. You guys are cooperating very well. Wei Shufeng leaned over and glanced at the monitor. Is that so? I think it's just so. Not good at all. Let's reshoot it a few times. Lin Yan frowned. Why not? It's really good. Wei Xiufeng corrected himself instantly. Oh, I think so too. Jiang Yiming was speechless. Chapter 152. When Lin Yan remained silent, Wei Xiufeng put down the necklace and started to take off his clothes in front of her. Lin Yan was scared out of her wits. What was going on? Why was he talking all of a sudden? Why? Why was he taking off his clothes? She was an upright racer. She would never do such a thing to a fan. If anyone were to see this, she wouldn't be able to clear her name even if she jumped into the Yellow River. Lin Yan's first reaction was to dash to Wei Xiufeng's back and lock the door. After she locked the door, Lin Yan realized that she looked even weirder after she had locked the door. There was an eerie silence in the makeup room. Lin Yan turned around stiffly. When she did, she saw Wei Xiufeng standing there with his upper body bare. The scene was unbearable. What? What was going on? Lin Yan placed her hand on her forehead. Wei Xiufeng. Calm down and listen to me. Wei Xiufeng gazed intently at the girl's eyes as he strode over to her. He pointed at his waist and said, "Don't you remember this signature?" Lin Yan's eyes followed his gaze and landed on his waist. There was a tattoo of Yeva's name. "I didn't have any paper, so I asked you to sign your name on my body. Later on, I couldn't bear to wash it off. In the end, I tattooed your signature on my body. That way, it will always be there," Wei Xiufeng said slowly. Lin Yan gazed at her fan. It would be a lie to say that she wasn't touched. When she had competed overseas, she had devoted herself to the competition and hadn't paid attention to the outside world. The charity dinner had been the only event she had been willing to attend. That had been the first time she had realized that she had a fan who loved and supported her so much. However, how was she supposed to face her former fans in this state? Lin Yan collected her thoughts and glanced at him. "I'm sorry, Wei Xiufeng. I think you got the wrong person. I'm not who you said I am." "You're not?" Wei Xiufeng's face fell. "You've seen Yeva before. Are you sure that she looks like me?" asked Lin Yan calmly. She recalled everything that had happened. She had been wearing a mask and a cap, as usual. She hadn't shown her face in front of Wei Xiufeng. Wei Xiufeng pursed his lips and shook his head. She rarely shows her face. Other than the racers who race with her, almost no one has seen her face. When I saw her, she was wearing a mask and a cap, but, your eyes, Wei Xiufeng lifted his head and met the girl's eyes. Your eyes are exactly the same as hers. I won't be wrong this time. Oh. Wei Xiufeng sounded as though he had made a few mistakes in the past. Lin Yan replied helplessly, "Since you've never met her, how can you be so sure that I'm her just because we have similar eyes? Also, my resume and information are open and transparent. If you think about it carefully, you should know that I can't be the person you're talking about." Chapter 153. Lin Yan coughed softly. "That's because I've heard of her name before. The scandal of her using banned drugs has spread like wildfire. Besides, hasn't she been banned from racing forever?" Wei Xiufeng's face fell when he heard Lin Yan. The passion in his eyes froze. "Shut up. What do you know? How could you say that about her? What **T scandal? What banned drugs? Had they seen it with their own eyes? She was practically competing with her life on the line. She flew around almost the entire year and participated in 168 competitions, big and small. She was invincible in all the regional level competitions, and in 37 of them, she won the championship 30 times, the second place 5 times, and the third place 2 times. She walked all the way to the pinnacle of the world. With her strength, did she need to take forbidden drugs? A racer needs to be clear-headed and calm during a race. If she gets too excited during a race, she might cause an accident. Why would she take drugs? Only a rookie racer with insufficient stamina and energy would do such a thing. Although Yeva is a girl, her stamina, energy, experience, and skills are far superior to those bastards. Motherf asterisk Kerr, do those people who spread rumors have any brains? Do they even have any common sense? The more Wei Shufeng spoke, the more agitated he became. In the end, his eyes were bloodshot. Lin Yan listened to Wei Shufeng's words with an indescribable feeling in her heart. She had made too many enemies. When the scandal had spread, everyone had kicked her while she was down. She hadn't expected to hear Wei Shufeng say such things after so long. I'm sorry, Lin Yan apologized. Wei Shufeng inhaled deeply as though he had calmed down. Then, he squatted down and buried his head in his hands. He hugged his knees and leaned against the couch without a word. Lin Yan scratched her head and picked up the clothes on the floor. Put on your clothes first. Wei Shufeng raised his head and glared at Lin Yan. You aren't her. Why did you pretend to be her? Did you do it on purpose? Are you coveting my body? The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched. Young master, why did you change your attitude so quickly? Lin Yan quipped, you mistook me for Yeva and took off your clothes for me to see. Shut up. A person like you is not worthy of calling her by her name. Wei Shufeng glared at her. Why do your eyes look so much like hers? Why do your eyes look so much like hers? Who gave the approval? Wei Shufeng's face was filled with, you're not worthy and I won't allow it. He wanted to dig her eyes out. Lin Yan sighed helplessly. She was indeed an unreasonable person. Lin Yan was about to say something, but Wei Shufeng buried his head between his knees and fell silent. After a long while, the young man's low and hoarse voice could be heard. She disappeared after that competition. Someone said that she returned to China. I've been asking around and looking for her for a long time, but I still couldn't find her. Where did she go? She wouldn't do something stupid, would she? The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched. She's already an adult. What else can she do? If she can't race, she can still do something else. Maybe. I'm Yeva. Wei Shufeng turned to glare at her. Shut up. Stop insulting my goddess. If you're her, I'll jump out of this window. Chapter 154. Wei Shufeng snatched his shirt back from her and put it on. He had regained his arrogant demeanor. Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief. Finally, he was back to normal. Lin Yan removed her makeup and went to the fitting room to change into her own clothes. When she came out, Wei Shufeng was still sitting on the couch in a daze, as though he had suffered a huge blow. Lin Yan lowered her eyes and sighed softly. If he knew that the goddess he had loved and supported had fallen to such a sorry state, he would have suffered an even greater blow. Young Master Wei, if there's nothing else, I'll make a move first. Lin Yan picked up her phone and bag as she bade him farewell. Wei Shufeng, who was still in a state of depression, remained silent. Lin Yan pursed her lips and pushed the door open. Duo had just arranged for a car to pick Lin Yan up. When she came out, the two of them walked out of the set. Sister Yan. Duo hesitated. Lin Yan asked, what? Duo coughed softly and asked worriedly, you were in there with Wei Shufeng for a long time. Did you do anything to him? Why aren't you concerned about your artist's safety? Why didn't you ask him what he did to me? Lin Yan snapped. He had merely wanted to show her a tattoo. Why did he have to strip? Wasn't that scary? Duo was speechless. In the past, Duo would have lashed out at her. However, after such a magical day, she wasn't so sure anymore. Lin Yan had just reached the door when she bumped into Jiang Sifei and He Shanshan, who were surrounded by a group of reporters. He Shanshan was yelling angrily at the reporters. "That's right. I was the original actress who played Lin Pianruo. Lin Yan snatched my role away from me. Today, she is filming a scene with Brother Feng. She has been harassing Brother Feng relentlessly under the guise of filming. We really had no choice but to watch Brother Feng being bullied by that woman to this extent." Hearing He Shanshan's words, the reporters went into an uproar. "Oh my God! How could that woman be so despicable? How will the remaining male celebrities dare to join the cast?" Jiang Sifei chimed in, "We really don't know. For the sake of the other artists, Shanshan and I have discussed this with the production crew. However, I reckon that Lin Yan has been pestering them relentlessly. She threatened them with the contract and refused to leave. The production crew couldn't do anything about it." Some of the female reporters were Wei Shufeng's fans. When they heard this, they were infuriated. His idol had been bullied to this extent. How could he tolerate it? Suddenly, a sharp-eyed reporter spotted Lin Yan standing not too far away. "Lin Yan! It is Lin Yan!" All the reporters swarmed over to Lin Yan and Duo. Their microphones and cameras almost hit Lin Yan's face. "Lin Yan! Someone in the cast said that you used filming to harass Wei Shufeng. Do you have anything to say? Are you going to tie Wei Shufeng up and shamelessly continue with the scandal? Wei Shufeng has already made a public statement on Weibo. He hates you so much. Why are you still clinging onto him like a piece of plaster?" Lin Yan was speechless. She was clinging onto Wei Shufeng. All right. As long as you guys are happy." Before the reporters could surround them, Duo dashed out of the crowd and shielded Lin Yan with all her might as she walked away. Lin Yan stared at the lass in surprise. Duo finally escorted Lin Yan out. She snorted angrily. "I merely promised Sister Ling that I would watch over you." She had witnessed what Lin Yan had done with her own eyes. She had no idea what had gotten into Lin Yan, but she hadn't gotten close to Wei Shufeng at all. However, Wei Shufeng seemed to have gone crazy. He had initiated a conversation with Lin Yan the entire time. She knew very well that no one would believe her. Instead, she would be mocked and ridiculed. Chapter 155. It had been a thrilling day. When Lin Yan reached home, she scrolled through Weibo. Indeed, because of Jiang Sifei and He Shanshan's actions, the netizens were scolding her even more. As usual, she posted "getting rich every day" on Weibo and refreshed the trending page. Then, she saw Wei Shufeng's latest post. Wei Shufeng typed, "In my world, there will be no sunlight in the day and no stars in the night." Wei Shufeng's fans felt their hearts ache when they saw his sentimental post. "Come and take a look. Look at what she has done to our child. Our child is willing to make such a big sacrifice for the sake of her professional acting. This news is infuriating. I want to send an electric baton to my baby. If Lin Yan dares to come near, I will electrocute her. Is there no way to get rid of this malignant tumor of the entertainment industry?" Sigh. Every single trending page was filled with her own gossip. There wasn't any fresh gossip. How boring. Lin Yan tossed her phone aside in boredom. Then, she fished out a yellowed photo from the bedside table. In the photo, a 5-year-old boy was tugging at the corner of her shirt as he stood beside her timidly under a cherry blossom tree. The other half of the photo was of Lin Shuya. Lin Yan stared at her brother in a daze before she picked up her phone and dialed a number. The call was answered after a few rings. Lin Yan asked, "Hello, is there any news about my brother?" A deep male voice came from the other end of the phone. According to the information you provided, I have already locked onto a few targets. However, those targets are not ordinary organizations. It will be very difficult to get the information. I still need some time. Lin Yan's eyes dimmed when she heard the answer she had expected. Got it. Thank you. The man sighed heavily. Actually, I advise you not to get your hopes up. With your brother's condition, without your protection, the chances of him surviving are slim. Lin Yan's voice quivered. I won't give up until I don't see his corpse. Years ago, she and her brother had been kidnapped and sold. They had been sold to an underground laboratory and locked up for a long time. She didn't want to recall what had happened during that period of time. Later, she was forcibly separated from her brother. She couldn't imagine how her brother would face those terrible things without her by his side. She pretended to cooperate, and when they let down their guard, she finally found a chance to escape. However, when she went back to save her brother, the laboratory seemed to have disappeared into thin air. There was no trace of it. When the police arrived, it wasn't a laboratory, but an abandoned warehouse. At the time, she was still very young. She told the police that this was a laboratory and that there were many other children like them locked up here. As a humble fan, Lin Yan, who didn't even have an ordinary signature from Pei Nanxiu, was instantly tempted. An autographed poster and a limited edition at that? You really have it? Pei Yutong's heart sank when he heard Lin Yan's excited tone. Big sister-in-law, how could you reject my big brother's video and choose my second brother's autographed poster? Don't tell me you're trying to two-time me. F***ck. If that's the case, which side should I stand on? Big brother or second brother? How should I choose? Damn it! Was he seriously considering which side to choose? Lin Yan was exasperated. What do you mean by two-time? I already said that your second brother is my idol. Alright. No matter what, are you coming or not? If you come, I will secretly deliver my second brother's poster to you behind my big brother's back. Why did this sound so strange? Chapter 158. The moment she picked up, Pei Yutong's passionate voice rang out once again. Alright. I got it. Lin Yan sighed helplessly. Pei Yutong was simply a pest that she couldn't get rid of. If she didn't agree, she was afraid that Pei Yutong would keep calling her until her phone ran out. Haha. Sister Yan, let's make a deal. You can't stand me up. Sister Yan, I'll hang up now. Pei Yutong said cheerfully. Hold on. Lin Yan interrupted him hastily when she heard that he was about to hang up. Sister Yan, what's wrong? Pei Yutong was puzzled. Autographed, limited edition, poster. Don't forget it. Lin Yan replied firmly. Pei Yutong was speechless. Alright. Don't worry. I will definitely steal it for you, Pei Yutong promised. Lin Yan hung up immediately after hearing Pei Yutong's promise. This brat, Lin Yan clutched her phone and couldn't help but feel a little dazed. If that incident hadn't happened and her brother had still been around, he would have been around the same age as Pei Yutong. At the thought of her brother, Lin Yan's eyes unconsciously flashed with a hint of fierceness. If it hadn't been for that bunch of B****stards, one day, she would have hacked those people into pieces and made them regret their actions. Lin Yan composed herself and took a few deep breaths. She immediately suppressed the restless emotions in her mind. She had lost control of herself more than once, and the consequences were severe. Each time, she would suffer a devastating blow. Now, she could adjust her emotions and control the number of times she lost control. Even now, Lin Yen still felt a chill down her spine when she recalled everything that had happened in the laboratory. It had been a purgatory and a real hell. If she could, she would rather forget everything that had happened in the past. Unfortunately, this memory was like a burning iron that was imprinted in her mind. Ever since she was young, her ability to comprehend and learn had been extraordinary. After the laboratory had been modified, it had become even more terrifying. If it hadn't been for that, perhaps she wouldn't have become the world's top racer. Her ability to comprehend and learn wouldn't have been so amazing. However, at the same time, she had lost her younger brother and left with uncontrollable sequelae, as well as that painful memory that could not be erased. Ever since she had escaped, she had deliberately concealed the changes in her body. However, she still didn't know if she could be considered a normal person. His current schizophrenia was probably a side effect of that time. Being possessed by a ghost was indeed a little too unscientific and rigorous. Fortunately, she had been quite normal recently and did not have a relapse. She hoped that she could continue to maintain it. She did not want to be locked up in a mental hospital in the future. The next day, Lin Yen wore a cap and a mask to the venue that Pei Yutong had assigned her. Car racing is divided into track racing and non-track racing. Non-track racing venues were not enclosed. Most of them were held in the wild. There were rally races, cross-country races, mountaineering races, beach races, mud races, and so on. Not long after, Grandpa and the others started a non-track race. It was a rally race with a team of racers and navigators. Track racing referred to racing in a designated enclosed field. This type of track racing was generally more enjoyable to watch, because the spectators could sit directly on the two sides of the stands and watch the race immersively. Pei Yutong and the others were competing in the arena. Other than Mumu, who greeted her with a smile, the rest of the racers glanced at her out of the corner of their eyes. They wore blue racing uniforms with a leopard running at top speed on their backs. They were from a foreign racing team called Speed, which translates to speed. You will have to sleep with me for one night. Song Yaonan had always assumed that Lin Yen was Pei Yutong's lover. Hence, he had said this to humiliate Pei Yutong. Chapter 169. Lin Yen scanned her surroundings. Only one member of Speed was lagging behind God Z. The other members were all ahead. If ZH1 could overtake the rest of the Speed members, they would be able to win. However, that wasn't realistic. After all, there was a huge gap between them. Actually, Pei Yutong didn't need Lin Yen to explain the situation to him. He knew what was going on. Sister Yen, ZH1 is going to lose if this goes on. Isn't that the end for me? Is there any way to salvage the situation? Pei Yutong asked anxiously. I don't think so. Lin Yen shook her head. Do you really want me to disband the team and crawl under Song Yaonan's crotch? No, I can't do that. If my big brother finds out, he will beat me to death. He will never let me race again. Pei Yutong's face was drained of color, and beads of perspiration had formed on his forehead. Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yutong strangely. Was this kid afraid that he would disband the team and crawl under Song Yaonan's crotch? Or was he afraid that his big brother would beat him to death? Before Lin Yan could say anything else, the crowd gasped in surprise. Lin Yan and Pei Yutong turned to look at one of the speed members who had crossed the finish line. He had removed his helmet and was waving his hands in all directions. F***CK. A member of Speed has crossed the finish line? What the hell? Pei Yutong gritted his teeth. As soon as Pei Yutong finished speaking, another member of the Speed team crossed the finish line at lightning speed. Pei Yutong's face was ashen as he watched the second member of Speed cross the finish line. This meant that the race was over. Based on the number of participants, even if all of ZH1's members crossed the finish line before the rest of Speed's members, they would still lose. ZH1's God Z had crossed the finish line, but it was meaningless to Pei Yutong. He had been defeated by Song Yaonan. I want to die. Just let me die. Pei Yutong muttered in a daze. Lin Yan tugged at Pei Yutong's arm. Sister Yan, don't stop me. Let me die. My big brother will definitely find out about this. He will definitely beat me to death. Pei Yutong whined. All right then. Lin Yan released her grip. Pei Yutong stared at Lin Yan in shock. Sister Yan, how can you be so cruel? Are you really going to stand by and watch as I walk towards destruction? Lin Yan was speechless. Hadn't he asked her to let go? Sister Yan, you have to save me this time. Pei Yutong sobbed. Only you can persuade big brother. So you don't mind disbanding the team and crawling under Song Yaonan? Lin Yan eyed him curiously. She really hadn't realized that Pei Yutong was a man of his word. He was a man of his word, and he was willing to admit defeat. Lin Yan had underestimated him. That's right. No way. I would rather die than crawl under Song Yaonan's crotch. Pei Yutong suddenly recalled his bet. Lin Yan was speechless. Chapter 174. Whoosh. As Pei Yutong spoke, the orange-red car reached its maximum speed. Even the car was shaking violently, and the rear wheels were slipping. The car was like a python that swam swiftly in Lin Yan's hands. Meanwhile, outside the track, the ZH1 team members sprang to their feet as they stared at the orange car that was approaching Speed. Their eyes were filled with indescribable shock. That woman is crazy. She has a death wish. One of the ZH1 team members exclaimed anxiously. This Speed had already reached a crazy level. Mumu's racing car didn't have a strong grip on the ground to begin with, and with the woman constantly stepping on the brakes and accelerator, the rear wheels had already heated up, causing their grip to weaken. If they made any mistakes, it would be impossible for them to survive at such a speed. The car would be destroyed and the people would die. God's face darkened as he stared at Lin Yan's car. What was that woman doing? Was she racing or courting death? She has completely abandoned the brakes. Mumu frowned deeply. Without the brakes, she really didn't know anything about racing. Otherwise, how could she have dared to control the car like that? She's going to die, exclaimed one of the ZH1 team members. Oh no! God's face was solemn. There were 3 corners ahead of them, and without the brakes, they were afraid that something bad would happen. However, given the current circumstances, who could stop that car? No one could. Now, there was nothing that could stop that racing car. Describing it as a runaway wild horse wasn't enough to describe it. Song Yaonan was dumbfounded as well. Even if she couldn't win, she shouldn't be courting death. We're almost at the corner. Mumu yelled anxiously. The speed team members were the first to reach the corner. Every car driven by the speed team would activate the brakes when they reached the corner. They would then use the brakes and the speed of the car to tilt and drift. The speed team had just finished drifting when Lin Yan's car caught up to them. Based on Lin Yan's speed, it would take her at most 10 seconds to reach the curve. Pei Yutong was gradually getting used to it. He no longer felt as nauseous as before. When Pei Yutong saw the bend in front of him, he yelled anxiously, "Sister Yen, hurry. It's a bend. Slow down. F***ck." However, Pei Yutong realized that Lin Yan didn't care about him at all. She continued to do whatever she wanted, as though she was immersed in her own world. Her face was expressionless, and her eyes were cold and distant. Pei Yutong's face turned ashen when he saw that they were about to reach a bend. Swish! Lin Yan turned the steering wheel. The orange-red racing car glided along the curve of the road. Lin Yan used the same maneuver to complete the next 2 turns. Originally, these 3 bends needed to be stopped 3 times in between, so they had to go through them in 3 different ways. If an ordinary person were to try this, they would die if they weren't careful. Chapter 177. The speed team members glanced at each other before turning to Lin Yan. They were at a loss for words. Don't be so arrogant. The competition isn't over yet. One of the speed team members bellowed, "Our captain, Air Commander, will be here soon." Lin Yan glanced at the other speed team members. Oh. Before the speed team member could respond, ZH1 and Song Yaonan ran over. "Hey, isn't this young Master Song? Why do you look like a stray dog? How pitiful." Pei Yutong sneered coldly when he saw Song Yaonan. Song Yaonan glanced at Lin Yan and Pei Yutong gloomily. "Calm down. Captain Air Commander will be here soon. We haven't finished the competition yet." Air Commander Lin Yan fell into deep thought. Speed's captain had met her disciple, Lang Mang, during the 2nd level of the international competition. They had competed together, but Lang Mang had crushed him. However, Air Commander's control of the racetrack was much better than the speed team members. They weren't on the same level. After all, Speed's captain had single-handedly dragged them into the 2nd level of the international competition. However, to Lin Yan, competing with Air Commander was no different from competing with Speed's members. She wasn't interested at all. "Air Commander is here too?" God of Thunder glanced at one of the speed team members with a frown. They hadn't seen Air Commander earlier, so they had assumed that he wouldn't show up. However, the speed team member had said that he would be here soon. "Why? Are you afraid?" Song Yaonan sneered coldly. "I thought that Air Commander wouldn't have to compete, but it seems like he has to." ZH1's team members' hearts sank when they heard Song Yaonan. Speed's core member was Air Commander. If Air Commander competed, how could Lin Yan compete? "But we have already finished the competition. Air Commander isn't here, so we can't be blamed," one of the ZH1 team members said to Song Yaonan. "According to your logic, the race was already over, so why can this woman continue to compete on the track?" That's the rule, the speed team member retorted. Let's wait for your captain then, Lin Yan replied nonchalantly. Lin Yan replied nonchalantly and waved her hand dismissively. Go and get some rest. Call me when your commander arrives. Lin Yan didn't turn back as she strode to the arena. ZH1's members hurried after Lin Yan. Sister Yan, wait for me. Pei Yutong had wanted to argue with Song Yaonan, but Lin Yan had already left. Hence, he hurried after her. A moment later, in the preparation area, Lin Yan picked up a random magazine and sat on the stool to read it with relish. ZH1's team members approached Lin Yan. That, Miss Lin, one of the ZH1 members grinned at Lin Yan. Lin Yan put down the magazine and asked curiously, what happened? Miss Lin, I think there might have been some misunderstanding between us before, Team 1 said seriously. What misunderstanding? Chapter 178. The third level of the international competition? Me? Lin Yan was startled. She wasn't really interested in the third level of the international competition. Yeah. God nodded and said, I watched Miss Lin's race. If you're interested in joining the team, it wouldn't be a problem. If this woman was willing to join ZH1, they would be in the top 5 when they entered the third level of the international competition. They might even be in the top 3. Sister Yan, you're amazing. Pei Yutong scurried over and gazed at Lin Yan intently. Sister Yan, join my team. I'm sure you can lead my team to the top. Your team? God glanced at Pei Yutong. Your team doesn't even qualify for the second-tier competitions in the country. If you let Miss Lin join, it will be a waste of talent. However, it will be different if Miss Lin is willing to join Team 1. Team 1 is qualified to compete in the third-tier international competition. Miss Lin just needs to train with us for a while. I am confident that Miss Lin can compete with us in the third-tier international competition. To ZH1, the third level of the international competition was considered a grand competition. If Lin Yan loved racing, she wouldn't give up on the third level of the international competition. That seems to make sense. Pei Yutong fell into deep thought. Lin Yan grinned and picked up the magazine. She wasn't interested in the third level of the international competition. She was sick of the first level, let alone the third level. Besides, she had been banned from competing. Of course, the ban wasn't the main reason. She wasn't interested. She would be like a well-trained adult beating up a child. She couldn't bring herself to do something like that. Miss Lin, was it luck that you made 3 consecutive turns and swung left and right to overtake the other car? Or, one of the ZH1 team members glanced at Lin Yan and asked cautiously. Although it was a little rude to ask this question, and no matter how he looked at it, it couldn't be luck. If passing the first curve was luck, could it be that passing the other 2 curves was also luck? There were too many details that had to be taken care of at the end. A single mistake could result in a car crash. However, Lin Yan had managed to overtake the car smoothly. It didn't look like luck at all. But even so, 3 consecutive turns and overtaking was too amazing. If it wasn't luck, it would be too terrifying. Luck? Perhaps. Lin Yan grinned and gave him an ambiguous answer. What luck? How could it be luck? F***CK. You guys weren't in Sister Yan's car. I was in the passenger seat the entire time, so I saw everything clearly. If it was luck, Sister Yan and I would have been killed. Pei Yutong looked agitated. Pei Yutong had watched as Lin Yan operated the car crazily. Her eyes were calm and focused. Luck, my foot. Alright, let's not talk about this. Deity suddenly said, Miss Lin, you may not know Air Commander well.